I'm Oscar Wendell. Welcome to Future Blockchain Summit. We're pleased to be welcoming here Ken Rutkowski, who will be returning as the host on December 6th to the 10th at the Dubai World Trade Center. Ken, hand over to you.
Oh, well, I'm really excited to be part of this event. This event is probably going to be one of the largest in the world, since Dubai, of course, is taking the necessary steps to bring live events to the world. And the Future Blockchain Summit is something we've been working on for the last several months to make it a great event. Will you please introduce who our first guest is, or our main guest is for today?
Mariam Obaid Al Muhairi from Dubai Future Foundation. She'll be speaking at the Transport and Logistics track with a workshop. And you'll be bringing along some guests from Canada, Mark Balovnev, I believe, and a speaker from Louis Vuitton, Jean-Baptiste Girard. And the subject is going to be on the impact of COVID and how blockchain can play a role in advancing supply chain logistics. We're looking forward to hearing more about that.
Mariam, let's dive into this real quick. Give us an overview. That topic seems to encompass a lot. Can you give us a small sample of where you think that conversation is going to go?
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Oscar. In that topic specifically, I think it goes back to something we started working on actually a year ago, which was a toolkit with the World Economic Forum. And it was a toolkit specifically looking at how to help entities, whether they be public or private sector, deploy blockchain in their organizations. And we were focused on actually deploying blockchain in supply chain tracks. What was interesting is that when we then published it, which was a year later, we published it at a time where COVID was kind of at its height. And we really thought that in a way it was fitting. I mean, not to say that obviously this was a good thing for us. In a way, it was a horrible thing for everyone, but it was fitting timing because the toolkit was really looking at all of these challenges that you might face in a supply chain and then how blockchain can solve those.
It's almost as if COVID accelerated all the plans to make these things happen. They're going to happen no matter what, but without COVID, it would have taken probably a snail's pace, and now it's accelerated, right?
I would say it's one, accelerated, but I think it amplified the challenges, right? So one of the main things that we saw more entities focus on was the transparency angle. And of course, that's something that you definitely see when you talk to people who want, or entities who think blockchain is an important technology or infrastructure to deploy. But I don't think it was as important as it became during COVID. Traceability, transparency, the authentication of goods, where are your where are your goods going? How do you ensure that they're not counterfeit? Those kind of questions seem to come up a lot more post during, let's say, COVID than they did pre.
It's also important to realize that everyone's trying to plug blockchain into what they're doing. But what you're talking about specifically on the supply chain logistics, it really is perfectly appropriate for this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what was really interesting in the work that we had done previously, so we did a report across the 7 Emirates looking at the different areas that blockchain had been deployed in the different sectors. And it's absolutely true that sometimes you do find that blockchain's kind of been put into something that it might not be necessary for. But I think what was really key, specifically during this period of COVID-19 and during these discussions with stakeholders, was that we could completely see the applicability of the technology for what they were trying to do. So I think in this case, it is a perfect use case for blockchain.
It's only a couple of weeks away, this event. How are you feeling about doing an in-person live gathering? You feeling optimistic?
I feel optimistic. I mean, I think each day is getting better. We've obviously seen kind of the numbers spike and go down, and I think that's something that is happening worldwide. But there is this need to, I think, return to, or maybe not return, but maybe adapt to the world that we're living in now. And so I think as long as the right safety precautions are met, that it's fine to have these kind of events.
Now, you're a very international person. You're in Dubai, you see all the things that's going on with Dubai. Do you believe that really Dubai has almost a position to be this new capital for where blockchain is heading?
I would like to say not just a new capital. I mean, this is something that's been kind of government driven and, private sector and market driven, let's say, for a number of years. We had the blockchain strategy come out in 2016 and then the federal blockchain strategy in 2018. So I think this is kind of a capital that's been in a way set, for a number of years, and we're seeing that roll out, and we'll see it roll out, I'm sure, in the next 5 years as well.
I'm looking at you and you look like you're young, which is amazing, okay? But
Thanks.
It seems like people that are embracing blockchain are not, let's say, programmed with a lot of old legacy ideas. It seems like this younger generation are the ones that are running with blockchain because they see all this greatness in it. How do you convince people that have been in the tech industry for a long time that they need to look at this as new technology that's going to take over everything eventually? How do you convince them?
I mean, it's a good question. I don't know if you convinced everybody, nor do I think we need to convince everybody, nor do I think it's going to completely take over. I think it's about use cases. And as I said earlier, we've seen use cases where we thought it was applicable and it wasn't. And we've seen use cases where it's been perfectly applicable. So I think it has to be case by case basis. I don't think it's a technology that should be pushed onto someone just because we think it's cool and we, want to adopt it. I think it should be something that really fits in the case or is case by case basis and fits into what's needed for that particular challenge.
Mariam, you're a complete inspiration. How do we get more women excited about all these new advancements in technology so they can be part of this field moving forward?
It's about, I think, representation, which is perhaps a little cliche, but I think if you don't see yourself in the fields that you're looking to go into, it's very hard to want to go into them because you don't feel comfortable. You might feel intimidated. I've been in meetings where it's just men, and that is a bit intimidating. So I think as long as we try to kind of push each other to be more inclusive and more diverse, and that includes, race, gender and everything else, then I think we'll get there. But we need to see more representation, I think, across all cultures and.
Well, I'll give you a little secret. I was a complete male chauvinist until I had a daughter. And then when my daughter was born, I realized that I want her to, run to be the president or run a gigantic corporation. And I realized that the odds in a lot of ways were against her because there's too many more male chauvinist guys like me in the world. And what I realized is it takes more women like you to show that the pathway is all there. But more women like you have to be mentoring and helping out young girls. Are you doing that?
I mean, and what we're doing is we have internship programs here. And so we have, and it's funny, I mean, actually everyone who's joined our center, so where I work, is a woman at the moment. And I think that's just by chance, not by, me sitting and kind of picking out just women. But I think you're absolutely right. Mentoring is key. And I've had a lot of great mentors, but actually I've also had a lot of great mentors who are men. So I don't think it necessarily has to be, like women mentoring women for women to succeed. I think it's about building the environment that's inclusive and building an environment that allows for everybody to kind of shine in their own way without feeling scared or intimidated or kind of put down.
I like the word you said, shine. It's almost like a beacon of bright hope. Who were people that were, let's say, people you admired as you were young that really drove you in the path that you're heading now?
That's a really good question because I get it a lot and I don't ever have an answer, which is perhaps the wrong thing to say. But I think it was people that I met, either, friends that I've had who've gone through, challenges that I saw them overcome, and I found that really kind of admirable, and I looked at them as role models, or, again, very cheesy, but like my parents, I saw them go through different things and then kind of come out of that adversity. So it's less so, let's say, someone, like Barack Obama, who's great, but, somebody who is like one person, but more kind of a number of people I've interacted with.
I actually know who it is for you. You ready?
Okay.
It's you 10 years from now.
I've heard that before.
Right? It's you 10 years from now as that person that really is almost that beacon of bright hope for yourself, because you know where the industry is going. You see yourself on this clearer path. Let me get back to this whole conversation of the World Economic Forum being involved. That is an amazing group to have a relationship with. How did you guys bring in WEF into what you're doing?
So the center that I lead at the Dubai Future Foundation is actually a collaboration between the Dubai Future Foundation and the World Economic Forum. So it's called the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's the UAE affiliate of the center in San Francisco, which is wholly owned by the World Economic Forum. And so all of the work that we do is done with the forum, which is, yeah, as you say, an incredible community and entity to be aligned with and to work with. And I think that's also really pushed kind of the way that we think about use cases, because we're seeing them from all across the world. We're seeing how blockchains worked, in Colombia, how it's worked in Brazil, and also, that I think helps us learn, but it also helps us, be able to share the things that we're doing here with the wider community.
Well, this is exciting. What Oscar said earlier about the panel and the people you're bringing together, it sounds like this is going to be one of those events that we need to pay attention to, because you're really going to set some standards of where things are heading. I'm really excited to spend time with you coming in December, and we're really looking forward to be part of the Future Blockchain Summit. And it's, again, a great honor to have you part of today's interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.